Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It is in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing details. Today, we are discussing a watch originally sold in 2006, very much of its era. This is the Zenith Chronomaster Open XXT. From the period when Terry Nataf ruled in the look, he was both the design chief and the chief executive, and all of his designs were provocative, though not all of them have aged well. This is the exception, combining the well-loved 1990s Zenith Chronomaster case and dial concept with Nataf's most successful design innovation, the open escapement visible through the dial. So what we have here is the Chronomaster, only larger, and it was this family of watches that really led me to fall in love with Zenith during my formative years as a watch enthusiast in the mid to late 2000s. So in stainless steel, 45 millimeters in diameter, 14.1 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip, 53.2 millimeters, with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. On my wrist, I'll remark what I first remarked back in 2008, the first time I saw one of these. It's big, but I'm surprised it fits. The lugs are right out to the edge of my wrist, and you could see that we're taking no prisoners here. A wrist any smaller than mine, and you've got a no-go. But the watch feels comfortable, and if we take a distance shot and look at it in the context of my entire arm and my hand, you could see that the watch is a size that I could wear. And it's a timepiece that's very versatile. Being steel, it's durable, but being a Chronomaster, it also has a lovely formality to it that would play up with formal attire. The strap is remarkably robust. It is large rectangular scale alligator leather. Brown, medium brown, semi-gloss. There is a lot of bolstering or stuffing to give it volume. It is a sheer cut side, a monotone stitch, no crimping, no gouging. It is a brand new Zenith factory strap, and you can see calfskin on the bottom. We have a full clasp. This was something that Nataf changed at Zenith for the better. A lot of Zenith watches, including flagship complications in the 90s, had pin buckles, so Nataf, in a stroke of genius, decided that if you want to take a brand upscale, you need the hardware to match, and so we got more deployant clasps. They are friction fit, crisply snapping shut with a double fold action, and you can see that the buckle itself matches the contours of the lugs. The lugs are fluted. The bezel is triple stepped. You've actually got the case, and then you have two steps on the bezel, but the effect is a triple gadroon aesthetic, and it's beautifully tiered. We have vintage-inspired oval chronograph pushers, a Zenith logo on the crown, a slightly cambered and boxed sapphire, and then a dial with a stamped guilloche, so several different patterns. And you can see that there has been a turned brushed pattern underneath the hour track, which consists of blackened radially arrayed applique Roman numerals, including a watchmaker's 4. We have blackened hands at center, including a hand-rolled chronograph seconds hand, a hand-rolled minute hand. You can see that the hour and minute hands have been faceted down their center for better contrast. We have several different patterns, including a dental molding outboard, a concentric brushed pattern underneath the hours, a lovely rosette style radial design underneath chronograph minutes, and then we have a sort of vertical curtain or clou de Paris. Some might also describe this as a vague or a wave pattern, or a quai de poisson, a fish scale. You could see this being in El Primero. We have semi-instantaneous jumping minutes, and although you can't see it too well, I'll make it more visible now. There is a little gold Dauphine hand that is also faceted that traces the power reserve indicator down at the bottom. So the power reserve is 50 to 52 hours. You can see that the open escapement is more than just a hole in the dial. It's a completely different bridge structure that allows you to see through what would ordinarily be solid bridges, obscuring the escapement and the drivetrain from the dial side. So those bridges have been opened up, and that part of the plates and bridges, they've been skeletonized. You can see a spectacular extended fourth wheel pinion that holds a tri-spoke constant seconds indicator, so when you stop the chronograph, that tri-spoke keeps turning. Because it's an El Primero, it both looks and sounds faster. So you can see this is a 10 beat per second watch compared to most chronographs, which are 8 or even 6, sometimes 5 beats per second. So because it's 10 beats per second, the seconds hand runs smoother, and you can hear it. It sounds faster against the ear. The El Primero was launched in 1969, at the time becoming the first automatic integrated high-beat chronograph caliber and one of the first 3 automatic chronograph calibers of any kind. In here, it is a dress watch level of water resistance, so protected down to 30 meters. This is the caliber 4021. 4021 is the open escapement. It pivots on 39 joules. It's a bidirectional winder with the 5 hertz rate, 50 to 52 hours of power reserve. It has a power reserve indicator on the dial side. One feature it does not have, because it's not traditionally part of El Primeros, it does not have hacking seconds. It does have a column wheel chronograph architecture and a lateral clutch, which are beautiful to see. Typically, higher-end chronographs use column wheels, but what a lot of folks don't know in the industry is that a lot of times higher-end chronographs also use lateral clutches. That's the way at Longa, that's the way at Vacheron, that's the way at Patek, that's the way at Audemars Piguet. Typically, if you buy a more expensive chronograph, you're going to get the lateral clutch because it is more traditional, more beautiful to see, and also more challenging for a watchmaker to tune, which is why, for example, at Patek, lower-level watchmakers work on vertical clutches, and the true masters work on the lateral clutches. Now, we have a combination of satination, beveling, and polish across the steel chronograph components. Then we have satination, beveling, and cross-hatching on the rotor, satination on the wheels. We have both polished and fired blued screws. They represent different things here, with the blued screws generally used for adjustments and the polished screws generally used for assembly fixtures. We also have engine turning on both bridges and base plate, which is an unusual treatment because most companies just use engine turning on base plates. But here, that has always been an El Primero tradition. You have engine turning on bridges as well. It's a good-looking movement and historically important. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.